What is going on? Welcome to the Sync Producer Spotlight. My name is Jason Dowty. If this is your first time viewing this, what the Sync Producer Spotlight is we're all part of a community called the Sync Producer Hub. It's run by Anthony Clint Jr. And every couple of weeks, we like to shine a spotlight on one of our members. We are all getting our music into TV and film. If that's something, if you're a music creator out there and you're interested in doing that as well, actually making a little bit of money from your music or making a lot of money from your music, the more you do it, right? There is a link in the description. There's a link in the chat. Check that out, and you can check out the hub and come join us. We have Zimzada in the building right now. What's going on, Zimzada? And we got KJ as well. And he says, "What's up, fam? Let's go, Jasons." That is true because today we have another Jason, Jason Revels. And I'm pretty sure that if you are in the hub, if you have not seen his name, then you have not logged on in months because he is definitely the most active member. He is constantly in there giving people encouragement, giving people, advice, getting advice from others, all of that. What's up, Ray Garcia? Welcome to the hub, or welcome to the Sync Producer Spotlight. Um, and I wanted to bring him on because I remember seeing a post from another Jason. And I'm going to try to bring this other Jason on here sometime. I just got to reach out. Jason Carpenter. And I remember him posting and he said, "Hey, I just wanted to give some shout outs to Jason Revels because I was at a point where I was thinking about maybe, going another direction, giving it up, that type of thing." And if you've ever heard Jason Carpenter's music, that's ridiculous because his music is amazing. And if he ever decided not to try to get his music into TV and film, I may have to fly to wherever he is and help change his mind as well. But the reason I wanted to bring Jason Revels on is not only because he's so active, but he seems to have like the right positive mindset. And I wanted to talk some about mindset in this. He's had some success in sync, but it's part of that journey, right? There's always kind of that valley of despair when you start something and you start getting momentum, and then you hit a roadblock, and then you hit the dip, right? Where you're like, it doesn't seem like anything's happening. I'm putting in all this work. Nothing seems to be going on, right? All of us have been there. All of us have hit that, or maybe you're new to the hub, or you're new to try to get your music into TV and film. Then you're there now, right? So I wanted to bring him on, find out what his mindset is, what his plans are. We're going to start with, where his musical history, what got him into music and all that, why he's going into sync. But I definitely want to tap his brain on mindset. So without further ado, let me bring him on. I've been talking all this time. What's going on, Jason? How you doing?
What's up, Jay? How you
Not
doing, man?
much. Oh, I'm doing good. Welcome to the Sync Producer Spotlight.
Thanks for having me, bro, for sure. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
And some of you may notice that the sun is shining where he is. He is in sunny Colorado.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where I am, it's just dark. Oh, Michael McConnor's in the house. What's going on? And then KJ as well. And Ray Garcia. All right, what's up? So let's kick it off. Let me know, like, what got you into music, what your favorite type of music is. Like, let us know your story a little bit.
Yeah, man. I think kind of like everybody else, or maybe most people, just kind of grew up with music in the house. My mom and dad always played music, and I was kind of one of those kids in school that I was the kid with the big, huge CD booklet. I just bought every single CD that was out back in the day. It was Jay Z and Tupac. I was really into hip hop and R&B growing up, and I just kind of grew up on just some real good music, some classics and stuff like that. So it just kind of felt natural. And then I was kind of always in technology, building stuff and deconstructing stuff as a kid, and so it just kind of went hand in hand. And life is just kind of life. Just kind of went through school, and then there was a time where I just decided to go to school for it. Art Institute of Colorado. I just kind of signed up and just wanted to go for the whole technical piece. And I think before that, I was kind of making beats, just like a lot of people, started off making beats on Fruity Loops and just that different types of stuff. So making beats and I I got into live sound through church. I joined the church and they needed some help in the back. So I just started to kind of do the sound and everything. I just kind of realized, yo, I'm terrible, bro. Like, I just felt like I had no idea what I was doing back there. So that's what kind of led me to kind of go to school and kind of started me on this journey. Where it's just go from loving music to kind of starting to dabble into it, and then going to school for the whole technical piece, and then just kind of went from there.
That's interesting. I know Clint used to be in IT.
Uh huh.
When I used to be a singer on cruise ships, and then after that, I got into like Cisco and networking and like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and certifications and whatnot. I think there are a lot of people in the hub that have that technical and musical background, like kind of right and left brain balance going on.
Yeah. Yeah. For
um,
sure.
when you were, back in the house, when you were, you had your CDs. Did you have any favorite CDs? Did you have any favorite artists? Anything like that?
Back when I first started to kind of listen, it was Bone Thugs and Harmony. My sister got a birthday present, and it was one of their CDs. And my parents, we couldn't listen to hip hop or nothing like that. My parents were born in the '60s, so it was all old school R&B stuff. So I
Hmm.
kind of got into hip hop, and that was kind of my favorite. Back in the '90s. I'm 42, so back in the '90s, it was Tupac and then kind of got towards like DMX and Jay Z, and then yeah, just yeah, kind of more into the hip hop, and then as I got older, kind of stepping into the R&B. I used to you know have these girlfriends who like, you don't listen to no R&B, it's just all rap and Lil Wayne and stuff like that. So so it's just in order to kind of get a more sensitive side, I guess. Kind of uh, dipped into the R&B, but really fell in love with R&B and just all types of music as I kind of got older. So that was kind of my favorite. And then you kind of go through those phases, where it's like I went through the Bob Marley phase and buying all that, and then James Brown.
Hmm.
You just kind of learn and grow. And um, being born in Kansas, in the Midwest, you listen to all types of stuff. It's like on the radio, it's like '80s pop and Michael Jackson and that type of stuff. So I kind of felt like I would listen to so much. So I think my music creation now is just kind of like a compilation of everything that I've been exposed to.
All right, cool. We have some things in common. Like I know everybody here knows that I live in Canada, right? But I'm originally from Oklahoma, so I feel you on that. You kind of get the West End, the East Coast there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You got
yeah.
some Cleveland with some Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Right.
DMX, what's he? He's New York, like I don't know what part of New
Uh
York.
huh. Yeah.
um,
Yonkers, I think.
but where I grew up, because I'm older, I'm like 10 years older than you. So when I was growing up, we had pop stations, and most of it was country. And then, like, and I hated, I could not stand country. And it was everywhere I went. Uh, but we had Power Jam and 1140 on the AM. Like, that's all we had. Like, for,
Dang.
you want soul music, hip hop, R&B, any of that stuff.
Oh wow, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Country, yeah, it's like country is one of those genres where it's just so deep. The storytelling is compelling, and then the mixes. You listen to these mixes on these songs, it's like, man, that's an awesome mix. I might not, relate 100%, but good music for sure.
Yeah, I would use the analogy of like if like I'll say olives, right? Olives are something I could never eat, no matter how you cook them up, spice
Absolutely, yep.
them, whatever. Like
Season them, yep.
a master Michelin star chef cooks up an olive, I'm not eating
Can't do it.
it.
Can't do
Oh, we
it.
have Janelle in the house. What's going on, Janelle? Oh, and Rich. I don't think I said what's up to Rich yet. What's up,
What's
Rich?
up, Hub?
All
Hub family in the
right.
house.
So, like I mentioned before, like in the intro of this, you've been really, really active in the group, and you've been encouraging a lot of people, and learning and educating at the same time. What got you into like? What was the spark that made you say, you know what, I'm going to try to get my music into TV and film and join this community?
Yeah, you know what? I When I was in school or finishing school and then doing AV, I built kind of like an AV contracting company. So I'm doing AV, and it's it's just really good. Pays pretty well. So I go from really not having anything, being my wife, to all of a sudden she went to school to be a nurse, and then I got my degree and started in AV, and then things our life just started to build. So with the AV money, I just started to buy gear, buy computers and equipment and software. I bought Omnisphere, all the top notch software, and I just took it serious in 2018, like making beats. Like I'm just gonna make beats, and I've just always loved making music. And then with school, you just kind of learn, sonically how maybe it should sound, the whole artistic piece combined with the college teaching you how to think and all that type of stuff. So you're building business. But I'm just kind of making beats and it's sounding good, and I don't really know how to play any instruments. I'm like constructing bits and pieces of melodies, putting them together, and they're sounding good, but it was just kind of missing something, So I got a BeatStars. Somebody bought a beat from BeatStars. Like, I bought this beat from here. Maybe you should sell your music there. So I just set it up and started selling, or I won't say I started selling music. People started listening, and I just started to be active on there, and made a couple of sales and stuff. Like, oh, this is pretty cool, and um, sorry, my wife's texting me. Dinner's probably ready, but it's all right. But
You can bring her on.
for sure,
You can you can have your plate here during the interview. We
yeah,
don't care.
right. But yeah, I mean, yeah, so just kind of went into making beats, and then the whole Beat Stars thing, and then not really seeing much progress. But kind of as we were kind of discussing before we went on, is that I realized, oh, I'm gonna have to do more than just make music and post it. I'm gonna have to get a YouTube up and all the stuff we don't want to do, and kind of put myself out there and promote. Like I was telling you, it's very brave what you do. I couldn't imagine. It was nerve wracking just thinking about doing this all week long, scared and shaking and stuff. But you're doing this like every week, and you and Clinton stuff. So that, I mean, it just takes it takes some courage to put yourself out there, and that's kind of what I realized I had to do. But there was kind of a shift, man. Like my beats became really good, and I kind of came up with with the process and streamline everything to where it's like, okay, this is good. It sounded good, getting traction. And then I got um and I can't really remember exactly how I got involved in sync, but there was a transition where it's like I just don't want to sell beats anymore. I'm not sure about the whole artistry thing, and then I just so I don't really know, but I um I came across a YouTube video by this dude named Jesse. I forget his last name, but he was doing sync videos and talking about it. I'm like, this sounds really, really dope. I would just love to, have some passive income, some long term gain, and then kind of doing AV, and that's bumping, that's paying the bills and stuff like that. But I just always wanted to make music and see, like you say, can I making music my 9 to 5? Um, and I was using samples in my beats and stuff like splice and all that stuff and trying to warp them out and everything. But there was something that happened right before I joined the hub. I said, you know what, I'm just gonna stop making beats the way I used to, and I'm just gonna go completely natural by scratch or whatever. And so I just started to and the beat that I first played when I joined the hub that first Friday, that was like the first beat that I made, just me playing it, and I was like, I'm just gonna make a sport. Like I kind of dialed in and focused. Like I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna make music for sync and for TV and film, and I'm gonna start with sports. And so I just tried to make the hypest track that I could possibly make, and drums and trap and all that type of stuff. And that's just kind of um, how it started right before I joined the hub. And then before I joined the hub, I got accepted by a library. I was kind of submitting. It was kind of not really that official. I'm like, I was just kind of doing some light research off of what people were saying, just watching YouTube videos about how to submit. So I found a library, Sound Zone, and I submitted like some old stuff that I did, and because I was scared, I'm like, I don't know who these people are, or whatever. So I submitted, and they accepted it, and I'm like, oh man. Well, I mean, that was like real encouraging. But so that was like music that I just made without any samples, like the percussion and like drum sounds, that's from Splice, but all the melody and stuff, that was me. Um, so I was kind of getting some traction, but I just felt like I needed to really take it serious. And then Clint, his videos just randomly started to pop up on YouTube out of nowhere, right? It's kind of funny how that works. But like he just kind of like seemed like real relatable. He's talking and he's just kind of doing his thing. And one of the videos that I remember was he was picking up his daughters or his kids from school, and he's just driving. He's talking about sync and everything. I'm like, man, that just I mean, he's it was just something about him being human, him just being a regular dude doing sync, and then it just kind of maybe having the image of success, like I'm doing this and I love it and it's possible. So I just kind of kept an eye on him and on his videos. But the video that made me sign up to sync was a like a short or a clip or something he did with Billy Big Shot Beats.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so I saw that, and I just remember I was just in the backyard working, and I'm just listening to it, and he was just saying how he got accepted, and it was just something different about that video and that time in my life where it's like I just want to take this serious. So I got on there, and I just signed up. I'm like, well, I'm gonna take it serious. And to me, I thought of it like school, like I'm going back to school. So I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna spend the money, and I'm just gonna go hard. And with the whole sync. That's why, like we were saying, that's why I was so active, because I'm like, man, I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna take it serious. And
Yeah.
during the summer, it's like a slow period in AV too. So I was kind of at home a little bit and spurts of work. So that's kind of where it kind of fell into sync. And then so I transitioned. I stopped making beats in that fashion. I kind of shut down. My Beat Stars are still there. I put all my beats at $5. People are still kind of buying them, you know. Um, and I just threw them on Spotify and just let that season of my life go. And now
Mhm.
I'm just here in sync. Like, you know, what can I do to
Yeah.
kind of make this work?
I think there's a couple things you mentioned that I want to touch on. Number one is bravery. You were a little apprehensive to submit to what were they called?
Zone,
Sound Zone,
zone.
right?
Mm.
You're apprehensive to come on this interview and put yourself out there. Like, uh, I don't know about your experience, but the best things that have ever happened in my life is when I leave my comfort zone and do something brave.
Preach,
Right?
preach.
So kudos to you for doing something brave. I think only good things are going to come out of it. And then the second thing is, I think there's a lot of people in the hub. Let me know, KJ, Janelle, Rich. I don't know who's Michael Connor. I don't know if you guys have or Zimzada, if you've done a beat store before, or if you did a beat store before coming to try to sell your music to Sync. I went on the same path, like 2020. I put one beat on BeatStars and it sold like a week later. And so I was like, oh, wow, it's that easy. And then I found out it's not that easy.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, it's almost like getting that free dose of like drug that somebody's trying to get you
Exactly.
addicted to.
Exactly. Just enough to get you dialed in,
Yep.
sucked in for sure.
So that's interesting. And then I kind of left that beat store behind too. So similar journey here. That's interesting.
I'm about to
Um,
look for it.
So what I wanted to talk to you about now is so you're going hard at it, active in the hub, making lots of music. You're starting to go down that journey. You got accepted to one library. Now, as a part of the journey, like, have you ever seen the Dunning Kruger effect chart before? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nah.
All right, so can I share it? Let me see if I can
Okay.
share it. hold on.
Okay. Okay.
Dunning Kruger effect. Dunning Kruger effect. It's some psychological study. Um, let me find a good like graphic for it.
Okay.
All right. I guess this is good enough. All right. So hold on. Can this get bigger? Let me zoom in a bit. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'll try to explain as I share my screen.
Okay.
If I can. Let's see. Share, and
Yeah.
here we go. All right. So I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Oh wait, I got the wrong one. I got it on the search one. Hold on. Stop
Okay.
sharing. Let me share it on the right one. I'll show you this chart. And if you need to tell your wife that you're going to
Oh
eat
no, it's
soon,
good.
all
No,
right,
it's
just let
good.
me know. Let me
Yeah.
know how that's going to work. All right, here we go. So, and I know you can't see my mouse, everybody that's watching. Every time you do something, there's always the beginning where you are ignorant, but you have a lot of confidence, right?
Yeah.
You probably know people like this who are like this all the time. Who, I'm learning a new skill. I already know everything, right? But what I want to add to this is like when you're just starting out, you have all of this like enthusiasm
Yeah.
and like you're taking every course in the hub, right? And you're learning all this knowledge and you're starting to put it into practice and you reach out to all these music libraries and you're making all this music. You got your first playlist done and you're pitching music and then 3 or 4 months later, like nothing's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
And it's that period right there. That's this, where it says culture. That's what's called the dip, right? Some people call it the valley of despair, where you're putting in all this work and you're not seeing anything,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, then you slowly start crawling your way up the thing, right? Oh man, I got my first placement, or I was on this show, or I got this. Maybe if you were selling beats, I just sold 3 beats in 1 week. I've never done that before, right? You start to get these little wins, and you start to like climb your way up, and then eventually you're an expert, and you're in demand, and you build all these relationships and skills and all of that kind of stuff. I'll stop sharing now. I just wanted to show this chart as an example.
That's good.
So what I wanted to talk to you about is, I was reading your form before this interview, and you've had the one library acceptance. You've had a couple of sync placements with a YouTube creator, but are you in this period where you feel like you're doing all this work and you're not getting any results? And if you are, how are you dealing with it, and how are you pushing forward?
Very, very much so. Yeah, I feel like I'm in this place now, and especially there's kind of some guilt right now with my business that I'm currently working. Like it's booming right now, and it's I just kind of remember when I started this AV business, I was hungry. I was out there and I'm gonna make a call, and I'm just like grinding and hitting the pavement and just telling, I mean, there was this passion and this fierceness I had in me. Like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I know I can do it, and I've seen this business kind of go up a little bit, and I kind of felt like like well, once you start getting a little money, like you're not hungry anymore, you're not you know um really struggling as much as you were. It's like you kind of get a little comfortable, and so with sync, I have that had that drive kind of at the beginning, and then knowing I needed to continue to push. But they call it the AV trap, where it's like, you get comfortable with the money, and I love this. Like this, it's audio related. It's, so it's like, I don't feel like I'm in that place where it's like, you're dead broke, you're musty, you're on the streets, and it's like, man, I gotta make this happen. Now or never. It's like, so I'm really trying to capture that energy that I had, and into sync. And as I'm tired and as I'm working this business, I see that I have to transition. Think long term. Like sync is something long term. I can't unload semis forever and do shows and stuff like that forever. So, and then maybe it is different. I can still push and be consistent when it's in that period where I'm submitting. I'm submitting like all the time and really getting no acceptances, know what's up. You know, we saw it. You know, I could kind of see in disco people are listening, they're checking it out, and that's kind of encouraging. But I definitely feel like I'm in this place where sync is almost kind of been on a slight hold as I get through the busy season, and then once the holidays come, jump right back in the studio and you know, start making more music. But it's kind of like this slight guilt as my studio just sits here looking kind of
Yeah,
cold and stale and dusty. Like, man, I need to get in there. And but I know in my heart that, you know, whatever I set out to do and accomplish, that it will happen. And I've seen it before. It's just the way my life is. I don't give up, and I just keep pushing, and and I just know it's going to happen. And it's kind of like a blind faith and a blind trust combined with actual effort and what I do, you know,
yeah,
combined with, you know, partnering with God to kind of make things happen. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
definitely in that period, it's a little shaky.
It can be. It can be. I mean, and I don't think you ever. I think the entire sync journey. I mean, if you ask Clint, I'm sure he would say this too: is ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys, right? Like it's hurry up and wait. It's
Yeah.
a lot of that, right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It got dark. Oh, there you go.
Get
All
some light going. Yeah.
right. There you go.
Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
So no, that's some good advice. I think you touched on something else that's important. You said, "I just know I'm gonna do it."
Yeah.
When I started, I didn't have those thoughts. Like I had to change my
Mm.
mindset. Like I was like, it sure would be nice if it happens. I had like thoughts like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
more of those types of thoughts instead of it's inevitable and it's going to happen. So I think that's a big part of it as well. And it seems like because of some success you've had earlier in your life, you just have that mindset automatically, which is really great.
Mm. Yeah, I think in part it's because I've just kind of been through a lot, you know, like that's the part that people don't see, your personal journey, the alcoholism, the addictions, the homelessness, all the stuff that people go through that kind of create that inner drive. And you know, I kind of look at my kids like, man, you guys just got it too easy, you know, like you've never known how it felt to, you know, not, you know, so there's, you know, not have a meal or this and that. So, you know,
Mhm.
wife, we kind of been through some things. I've been through some stuff to where once my life started to change and it's just, I don't want to go back to being broke or, you know, sleeping on the streets and, you know, just kind of living a life where I'm not in my purpose. So I think that's kind of what drives it too. And it really is for me, just, it's like you're tricking your brain in a sense. You're kind of, you you know, you're just kind of willing it all into existence, you know. And I think I realized that as I think, it just, you know, I create my life around me with my thoughts and with my words and stuff like that. So it's really like you're tricking yourself, even if you don't believe it. You keep saying it. It's almost like the fake it till you make it type thing. I used to think that was silly, but it's like, oh, I see what they're saying. Like, you really, before you accomplish it or achieve it, you really have to embody it, internalize it, and just kind of have those thoughts in your brain. And then, you know, yeah, and then, you know, the evidence is there, and it helps that I've seen it done before. It's like when you've seen it happen, then you feel like you could kind of do it again. But I mean, it's still scary, and I still don't really know for sure. But we don't got nothing to lose, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
just to keep trying. Um, and I just think it's a choice, you know. It's a choice for me. Like, what am I gonna do? And so, and I think sometimes I don't make the best choices when it comes to sync. You know, like I'll get home from work and then I'll just get on the PlayStation, or I'll just, you know, just kind of get on the couch and lay back. So I was like, man, I really need to drive harder with what I know I want to accomplish.
Yeah. Two things I want to mention about what you just said. Number one is I think coming from going through those hard times has given you what I'm picking up is it's given you a gratefulness. You're grateful for
Oh
what you
yeah.
have. You know what I mean? Like, and your brain is a subconscious engine that works for you. So whatever messages you're telling yourself in your brain, that's what's going to give you back. If you're
Exactly.
like, this ain't never going to happen, or I'm lazy and I feel guilty, and you know any of that stuff, your brain's like, okay, so he's lazy. All right,
Right.
cool. He's
Right.
guilty.
Yeah.
You
I'm just
know.
gonna roll with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you know, if you're like, I'm a successful music producer, you know,
Yeah.
I make money from my music. I get my music into TV and film. You think
Yeah.
thoughts like that, your brain's like, okay, yeah, you do. Let's make that happen, right?
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
All
Yeah.
right. So let's. Speaking of music, let's go ahead and hop into yours. We got an Island Vibes album here that you shared with us. You want to start with "Don't Lie," or you want to hop right to Miami Vice?
Yeah, start from Don't Lie. And it just kind of like a little side piece. I was like, man, I'm like making sports hip hop and I love it, and to be honest with you, I don't really even like sports all that much. Like it's so, I don't really watch. That's funny. Like I don't really watch too much TV and I'm not really that big into sports really. I appreciate it, but I don't know stats. So I don't know who people are. Like my wife's in the room, like, watching the Broncos game. I'm with her. Like she's watching it. I'm just sitting with her. So it's funny. It's funny. So I feel like I'm making music just as a service. But so with the whole sports and I'm like, man, I just want to try something different. You know what I mean? So I just like, well, I'm just gonna try some island stuff. I was just very encouraged by your music and everybody else. Like, man, everybody's just making such great, awesome music. And I just love trap beats and stuff. So yeah, that's where this album kind of came from. I was like, I'm just gonna try something new, something fresh. And so I made two songs kind of, to start that album and then to share it with you and everybody. And so I'll finish this album out, 5 songs total. Then I'm just going to venture into whatever feels good from here.
All right. Let's get right into it. Let me share my screen here. We're going to start with "Don't Lie." Here we go.
Thanks, Mike. My my first ever horn.
That's your first horn? I don't believe it. Really?
From you, from your,
Oh,
yep,
from
from
me.
your
Yeah,
mic.
yeah, yeah. I
Yep.
was gonna say, I'm sure Clint's given you the horn before. That was dope.
Appreciate
I
that.
wasn't. I don't know what I was So I know it's island vibes, but I don't know why, but it gives me 80s vibes too.
Hmm.
Especially like with the beginning synths. The first thing I thought of was like, I don't know how to explain it, but somebody called out the Travel Channel, like the like vacation videos and like
Yeah, yeah.
all of that stuff. Yeah, it's perfect for that. So
Well, for
I wish
sure.
you the best of luck with this album.
Thank
Um,
you. Thanks,
yeah, it's
Jay.
fire. Oh, here we go. It's a DJ Horn. KJ's shouting you out. There are
Nice.
a lot of fires, all
Nice.
that stuff. Can you see the chat on your end?
Yeah, I can. I was just gonna say I didn't know that your they could actually see the chat. That's dope. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got a little
You
chat
know.
screen on the like right hand of my screen, and then I can just
Yeah.
highlight them and bring them up. All right, cool. Just making sure
Nice.
you can see it.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the next one. Before we get to the next one, well, I guess it's a good transition because that's the next playlist that you're working on that
Yeah.
you plan on pitching. What are your plans for Sync? Like, I know you did some sports, and go sports ball, right? And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're doing some island vibes. What do you have your eyes set on? Do you have like a dream placement that you're looking at, or anything like that?
I think I'm just gonna continue making sports music. It's what I love the most, and I just saw Phil pop up. It was just a pleasure to work with him on the album that we did together, and he's getting real placements, really doing it like a lot of people here.
Mhm.
And it was just kind of an honor to kind of work on that project with him. The sports music is where I'm gonna kind of stay, but I felt like I wanted to try some other stuff, and I feel like with Splice, you could kind of, like get the mood, um, the tone of what you want to make, and just kind of listening to some stuff and just really learning how to play and create the melody. So I'm I'm gonna stick with the sports, just try whatever, and just keep making music. I'm just gonna get in there and just how I feel. That's what I do. I just get in there and I sit down and then I just start with the melodies and then I just just kind of go from there. So
All right. When you were doing just to get more into your workflow and how you make your music, when you were doing your beats for your beat store, for example, you might use a sample here and there. Are
mhm.
you a sample chopper? Like you chop it up and halftime it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, in some cases I would because you feel kind of guilty. Like I am buying this sample, but I stopped really feeling guilty and just using it. But then got, I started to realize everybody was using the same samples. So like if I used a sample like a guitar piece or whatever, I would just throw it in Serato sample and just play it differently. So yeah, I would chop it and I would throw some effects on it to make it, to kind of make it different. But I just kind of got away from the whole melodies and stuff of Splice. So I'll just still use it for the drums, but I just try to play everything by hand, and I got like Scalar 3, and just different types of software to help me construct the music, and
Hmm.
just try to make it as original as possible, especially for sync because I don't want any problems, no drama whatsoever.
I got
Um,
you. The reason I bring that up is I know some people that like will create their original, 8-bar loop or whatever, and then
yeah,
export it, sample that, chop it up. You know what I mean? Like you could
in-
still do that. You could make your own
interesting.
samples to chop it up if you were that type of artist. Like I know
Mm,
a lot of beat makers do that. So
interesting. Yeah,
it's something to think of, as you go along and you start making your music.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right. What's your setup? What kind of gear? What are your favorite plugins? Let's talk all that stuff.
Okay, yeah, talk gear. Yeah, I just got a I just got a Mac Mini, and I just try to keep things simple. As somebody who you go to school for it and you learn all of this stuff, you kind of realize that just simple is better, right? So I got my Mac Mini. I got a Apollo interface and just this Akai MPC Mini. You know, and I'm just doing it with that, and so that's all the gear. I mean, I got an MPC Studio Live too that I don't use. I bought it and I'm just kind of scared really to kind of dive into it. So it's like I got all the gear I need, but really I'm just like addicted to VSTs, so Preet in the hub and everybody they just like flood the hub with different plugins and stuff. So I'm really big in the Arteria stuff.
Mhm.
The first probably big VST I bought was Omnisphere. It's like probably the only thing you ever need in your life. It's like 10,000 sounds, and so I started to collect sounds up and just I got Universal Native Instruments, the complete collection. I just that's what my money went to, is just buying plugins and just sounds, but Pigments 5 now probably.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just kind of what I'm doing.
Let me ask you this. Just because anybody that is a sync producer or a music producer in general that's trying to make any kind of money out of it,
Mm.
essentially you are a business owner, right? Do you track your spending and your profits?
Hmm.
Or
Yeah,
lack of
yeah,
profits, I mean.
yeah. Lack of profit. Yeah, like yeah, deep in the negative. But yeah, yeah. With my business that I'm doing now, yeah, you got the QuickBooks, you got everything. You put money aside for taxes and stuff like that. Selling a $5 beat here and there. I keep track of it, but my tax person is like, you're not doing nothing with that quite yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that is the goal, and I think that's what attracted me was when Clint and everybody saying, some of these placements have huge upfront payments and then just the back end royalties. So I
Mhm.
kind of, from a business standpoint, that's the other piece that I was thinking, like, man, I got to get my business right. So you know, BMI set up with that. I got set up with something that collects your mechanicals and stuff worldwide. I forget what that's called
Song
now, but
trust?
Song Trust. Yep. So I
Yeah.
set up with that and just trying to make sure that I'm researching and just trying to understand where my money's going to come from, how it's going to come. And so I'm at that point now where I just want to understand the business a lot more. The music just seems to come. We could, almost prolifically just make music at any time, at any given moment. That seems to be the easy part. I think where I don't want to get screwed up on is not knowing the business, missing my money. And, I watch DJ Pain One videos, he's funny. He's just kind of
Yeah.
talking about all of that and just how producers, we just really need to know the business side of it and how we're just leaving money on the table. So I think that with that mindset, trying to understand um, if money is coming my way, how do I collect it? And
Yeah.
but yeah, right now it's not doing too much. I'm not. I don't know if I have any placements. There's something on my list that I need to do. I need to look on, was it TuneStat or yeah,
Mhm.
to
Tune
see
set. Yeah.
yeah, to see if stuff is actually being placed. But I only have that one acceptance with 10 songs. So the goal is just to keep getting more libraries to accept, making more connections, going to Shades of Sync coming up in November. Just to really network and make connections
Mhm.
and just kind of keep pushing. So when the money does start flowing in, I'm not caught off guard.
Yeah. What pro are you with?
BMI.
BMI. Okay. Yeah. Do you check that every once in a while just to see if they
Yep.
come in there?
It
Okay. Huh?
it says zero, zero money.
Yeah.
No, but it's good. I feel like it's progress, and I try not to be discouraged. Like you said, it's just the ups and downs,
Yeah.
um, and just know it's gonna pop. If the music is good, I think it's good. I think it, sonically sounds good, and then I think it could fit. So just a matter of time, I think.
Okay. Well, speaking of sonically and sounding good, are you ready for your next one? Miami Vice. All right.
For
All
sure.
right. So let's check it out. The next one from the Island Vibes. Let me share it now. Here we go. Oh wait, I got to start it from the beginning though. I hate it when it plays it from the. There we go. Oh yeah. So Michael Connor nailed it. That's in the previous track too. Like the reason I was saying it sounded 80s. He was like it reminded him of Michael Jackson, Human Nature, like
Ah,
that vibe, right? So that
yeah, for
totally
sure.
makes sense. That totally makes sense. Yeah,
That's
good
all.
observation there, Michael Connor music.
Appreciate that, Mike. Yeah. Shout out to
Great,
the hub for sure.
yeah, great edit points. That was mixed perfectly. I have to ask about the guitar though, because I know you can't use like a guitar sample necessarily for
Uh,
sync. Like,
yeah. That was a sample from Splice that like I threw a Serato sample and just chopped it up, to where it's not original. So yeah, that's kind of one of those moments where it's like I'm just gonna press it. You know what I mean?
okay,
Because I really want a guitar. But that's a piece that because I have a lot of musician friends. Kind of growing up in church and bands, and just all of my friends are musicians. So the goal is to get my buddies in the studio and just lay some keys down, lay the bass, and guitar. So ultimately, it's gonna turn into something where it's just studio musicians in my studio, and we're kind of putting this stuff together because I could play some stuff, but guitar and that type of stuff, yeah, man, that's a sample that I had to chop up. But I know people that can play guitar to keep us really safe, and then to bring other people in, collaborate, and everybody gets a piece, however that works, on the front end, back end. So
awesome. Yeah, that's a great idea. Um, if you can't get those people to, if you can't get jam sessions, can't find instrumentalists, I've been asking if Michael McConnor might give us a master class because
come on,
he uses guitar BSTs and you cannot tell like
wow,
uh, he's a master of those. So
wow,
um,
okay,
yeah. Oh wait, what's he's talking now? So gear acquisition syndrome is what GAS stands for. I need to appease some gear acquisition syndrome one more time and get a Strat Guitars VST. Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm
if you
talking
do,
about.
show us how you're using it. Because man, every time I try to use a guitar VST, it sounds like I don't like my toddler playing on a toy guitar. Like it does not sound good.
uh, take some skill for real.
Oh,
Yeah,
here we
that's
go. Feel
great.
free to reach out if you need a guitarist. Hey, yeah,
Hey,
collab,
man.
right? We would collab. Let's do it.
Real talk though, for sure. Yeah.
We'll give you our toy guitars, and you turn it into something real. And then
Magic.
I'll split 50s with you.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Oh,
I've
Rich
done
can
it.
actually play the guitar, so that's even better.
And I've done that before
Oh,
where somebody played guitar and sent me the files and I
uh,
just implement. So I guess you don't have to be in the same room.
right, of course, yeah.
So for sure.
Oh, sorry, Rich said he can't play actual guitar. I thought
Oh.
he could. He probably plays Rock Band, Guitar Hero, something like that. But yeah, can't. Yeah,
Rich.
sorry.
Oh man. Yeah.
you were
I
about to get
can't.
some. You're about to get some messages in the hub, like play guitar for me.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, a lot of talent, man, in the hub. It's just really inspiring just to watch everybody just kind of do their thing. The music is always on point. It keeps me. That's why I ventured off into the island. It's like, man, everybody's just killing it, man. Let me see if I could kind of keep up, and
Yeah,
keep pace. A lot of talent in the hub, and it's just awesome to be a part of this group for sure.
awesome. All right, so to close out this interview, I'm gonna put you on the spot, and you're gonna do a game show. Do you know the game show we're gonna play? Do you remember?
uh,
No.
I
Sink
don't
or
think so.
swim. There we go. Sink or swim. That's what we're gonna
Oh,
play.
Jay.
All right.
Okay, okay.
It's three questions. They're multiple choice to see, and they're all about sync facts, right? Like facts about sync music, getting your songs placed, and all that. All right.
Okay.
So question number one: after Volkswagen's Cabrio ad used Nick Drake's "Pink Moon," what happened to the album sales? So A, they stayed flat. B, they doubled. C, jumped nearly 500% in early 2000. D, went number one on Billboard's 100.
Mm, maybe jump 500%. I mean, that seems like very possible.
You are correct. You,
Really,
you got your first. There's no prize for this, by the way. I'm not giving
flat
you.
out guess. I mean,
Oh wait, one thing though I do want to mention is like I posted in the hub one time. I posted the something about the Shades of Sync conference. This was a long time ago, and you bought your ticket using my affiliate link. So
I
I'm gonna
did.
buy. Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
if you remember that or not. You clicked from my affiliate link. You probably didn't.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice.
when we get there, I owe you at least a couple drinks. So if
Come
we're going
on,
out
man. Yeah.
anywhere, I got
All
you. I
right.
got you.
All right. For sure. For
All
sure.
right. But anyway, I know that's not winning anything, but a couple free drinks and nothing to sneeze at.
No, that's cool. Thank you, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Next question. Which of these statements about sync licensing is true? A, you need a record label to get started. B, your track has to be radio hit quality. C, you can start making money with instrumentals recorded in a home studio. D, only famous artists get placed in TV and film.
I would say B and C, right? Well, B for sure, right?
No,
Uh,
it's only C. I
oh,
mean,
okay.
it needs to be top quality, but not necessarily radio hit like like
Taylor
a
Swift
major
or whatever.
studio and
For
yeah,
sure.
like 12
Okay.
engineers on the board and 16 producers on one track and all
For
that.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so C for that one, and then finally, which job title decides if your track makes it into a TV scene? A, director. B, music supervisor. C, audio engineer. D, showrunner.
Music supervisor.
Music supervisor. Yes, absolutely correct. Sometimes it's a music coordinator. Sometimes they do it. But yeah, and Sometimes, I mean, it might be a director. I've seen movies where directors make their own music. Like you'll
Mm,
you'll see
like wow. Yeah,
like
like
they have
Tyler
their own
Perry
music,
just doing everything.
playing all the parts, doing all the
Exactly.
directing, writing scripts. All
And
right,
catering.
yeah, all that. All right, so I know you're hungry. I know your wife's got a plate for you waiting.
I got some sticky ribs, baby.
All right. So before you share your parting words, I do want to mention if you are watching this and you are not part of the Sync Producer Hub, you don't know what we're talking about, and you're a music creator and you're like, I want to hear my stuff on TV, I want to get it into films and things like that. There is a link in the top of the description and in this chat as well. Just click it, check it out. We're all part of the Sync Producer Hub, run by Anthony Clinton Jr., and we are getting our music into TV and film. We're learning how to do it and has all of the courses that you need, all the support. Clint runs a weekly live session where he answers your questions and listens to your music and gives you live feedback. And a lot of these other types of communities like this, they'll charge a premium fee to give you feedback on your music. So it's pretty awesome that he does that for all of us. So if you want to be part of this community, meet real people that are doing it, that are going through, the valley of despair and the dip, and to help you through that and to help you get on the other side, join the Sync Producer Hub.
For
All right,
sure.
Jason Revels, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you in the hub. What are your parting words? What do you want everybody to know before we leave?
For sure. Yeah, thank you, Jay. Thanks for having me. Just, try to be you, just try to be authentically you, embrace the weird, embrace just it, it is what it is. I just tell my kid, if, if I would have known now, back then what I know now, that yeah, it doesn't matter people laughing at you, being embarrassed, or just be you, weird, strange, whatever that is. That's I just try to embrace who I am. I can't change it. I could only get better. Like my mom says, you could just be the best version of yourself. So, it is what it is. If not everybody's gonna like you, not everybody's gonna embrace you, you know. So um I just try to do the best I can, and that's all I got. You know what I mean?
Awesome. So the takeaways are be authentic and get out of your comfort zone and face your fears.
That's
That is
it.
amazing. Yes. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you to everybody who came. Rich, Ray, Michael, Connor, KJ, Zimzada. I don't know. If I left somebody out, I apologize. I'm just scrolling through the names, making sure I got everybody. Ray, I think I already said. Rich. All right. So thank you so much, everybody. If, like I said, if you're interested in joining the hub, if you're not part of the hub, make sure you click on that link. But until the next time, we will see you in the hub. Peace out.